let's talk about the best graphics settings in Apex Legends. These settings took me from having 90 to 100 FPS per game all the way to consistently having 225 to 190 FPS. All right, first let's start off by talking about the little things in game that actually matter. For example, interact prompt style, you want this on compact. This is basically when you're passing by a gun. The large box that shows up on the ground usually takes up a whole bunch of your screen. It won't show up when you have it on compact. So definitely on compact, it's just less information, but it's really unnecessary information if you're playing the game for a while. Button hints, a lot of people like this off because again, it hides a little bit of stuff on the screen. To me, it doesn't really make much of a difference. You can keep this on. Crosshair damage feedback, I personally recommend this on off. You already get so much information in terms of damage numbers and sound cues when you're actually hitting an enemy that you don't need this on. But if you do have it on, I recommend putting it on X. X with icons a little bit of an overkill, just really not necessary. Damage numbers, I found that stacking is the best. When you have it on floating or both, it puts unnecessary numbers around the enemy when you actually shoot them. And like I said, it's just distraction. You don't really want it. Ping opacity, I have this on default. Faded, honestly, when you ping, it doesn't really make a difference, at least to me, to be honest with you. Default works the best for me. Obituaries, I have on. Minimap rotation, I have on. This helps you see the minimap a little bit better. Weapon auto cycle on empty. This is personal preference. I found that whenever I was in a gunfight and I completely ran out, I would find myself double switching and always ending up on the empty weapon. So I had this on off simply because I only want to tap it once to actually switch weapons. Auto sprint, again, personal preference. I have this on off. A lot of controller players like to have this on just for when they do things such as like tap strafing or super glides. It makes it a lot easier. Double tap sprints, have this on off. Jetpack control, I have that on hold. It's the best if you are using Valkyrie. Incoming damage feedback, I have this on 2D. 2D or 3D is the same way to go. 2D is just personal preference. Taking damage, closing death boxes, I have this on off simply so I can get a shield swap off because I'm on controller. I think PC players like this on off as well, just so they have enough time to get that shield swap off. Hop up, pop up, I have this on off. Now, the rest of this I'm not really going to cover because this is really just personal preference. I would recommend having performance display on since you are going to be tweaking with your FPS and you want to see how much you're getting per game. This is going to tell you the ping and the FPS. Besides that, the only thing you should really be worried about is reticle. I have played with either this yellow one or this I call it green/cyan. But yeah, no, yellow one works the best for me. Now let's talk about the actual video settings itself. Obviously, you want this on full screen, aspect ratio, whatever monitor you're on. I'm on just a regular 1920 by 1080 monitor. FOV and brightness are all preference. Sprint view shake you want on minimal. You don't want your screen moving as much. FOV ability scaling definitely disabled. VSync, these are the important ones. I think these settings are the perfect mix because a lot of these videos that you see will have your settings completely down and it'll look just like Play-Doh. Like, you know, your FPS is really high, but then you also can't see half the map, so it doesn't really matter anyway. And the other ones just really sacrifice FPS for looks. So I think this is the perfect balance between the two. Now you want VSync disabled. I've seen this pretty much every single video that I've seen. The video reflex, I have on enabled plus boost. A lot of people play on enabled plus boost, but the other half of players just play on enabled. I haven't seen much of a difference, but if you have, please make sure to comment down below and let me know what the difference actually is. But I've seen that enabled plus boost works the best. Resolution FPS target, you just want that on 0. Anti-aliasing, you want this on none. Texture streaming budget, you want this usually 2 ticks below the max. You can make this even a little lower, probably medium, but I think high on 4 GB is probably the best. Texture filtering, now this is an iffy one because like I said, the balance between Play-Doh and performance, you can have this completely off, like bilinear, you can have it on. But again, just to have some sort of texturing in there just to make it look pretty decent, I have it on 8. It doesn't really sacrifice that much of FPS anyway, so I think you're covered there. Ambient quality, you want that disabled. These both on low. Splash shadow detail, you can have this lower as well. Like I said, just in terms of game quality, that doesn't really affect FPS as much. I have that on insane. Lighting disabled, spot shadows enabled. And this is actually specifically from ottr's video because he actually read a Reddit post that actually used these exact same settings as well. I have everything linked down in the description that I have used for this video, so don't even worry. But this is model detail on low, effects detail on medium, impact marks on high, and ragdolls on medium. Now, if you really wanted to just cap off on, I guess, the FPS, if you experience seeing a little less than you would like, you can put all these on low. All right, now that we tweaked the in-game settings, let's talk about what our monitor should look like. Now, this is only going to work if you have a G-Sync compatible monitor, but once you're out here on your display monitor, you want to right click and go to your control panel. Now, if you don't see this, don't panic. Just search down here, your control panel, and then go through the steps on actually installing it. Now, once you get in here and you see this on your screen, you're going to go to manage 3D settings. You're going to get here. You're going to want to click on program settings. Now, here's where you're going to find Apex. Now, mine was already selected because I was just playing Apex, but just go through your list and find Apex Legends. Should be r5 apex.exe, and you're going to want to copy these exact settings. Feel free to pause the video here to just copy all these settings. I would go on one by one just to read them out, say what they do, but I feel like it's just time consuming and unnecessary. So just go ahead and copy these. One thing I'll mention that might catch you guys a little bit off guard is that vertical sync is enabled or on here in your actual monitor settings, but it's supposed to be off VSync in the actual game itself. This is for a reason. It's proven to work better that way. The Reddit post explains it a little more, but just in case you guys were curious, I wanted to just point that out. Now that we've gone over our monitor settings and also our in-game settings, let's talk about our actual video config settings. Now, in order to get to this, you want to click on your PC in your files, find wherever your users are. It's going to be on obviously the username. You're going to go to saved games. Should be a Respawn and an Apex. Now this should be under local, and it should say video config. Now if you hit on this video config and right click that under properties, it shouldn't say read only. Yours should be blank because you're gonna need it. So I'll check this off for now. You're gonna want to just double click on it, and this should pull up for you, this notepad. Now here's an image of the exact values that you want to have in this notepad. Again, feel free to pause the video. But now once you have all your values pasted in there, you want to exit. Right click on this again, go to properties, and go to read only, and obviously apply. Now what this does is it doesn't allow the game itself to change these settings. So these settings are set in stone, they're done. No one can really change them, because if you try to open it back up again and change a value, what happens is you hit exit, you try to hit save, it'll say this file is set to read only, try again with a different file name. So leave it alone, nothing can change it, you should be good there. Now last but not least, you're gonna want to head over to Steam. Not exactly sure how to do it in Origin, but I'm pretty sure it's the same process. Go over to Steam, hit this little gear over here, go to properties, and then in general you should have launch options. You're gonna want to type this in exactly plus FPS underscore max 0. Now what this does is it caps off your FPS, and all the settings that we put in, it's all just gonna make it perfect. There are also different launch options you can put in here. Like there's different options for you to just skip the entire cutscene at the beginning. There's a whole list of them. I can go over that in a different video. Mind you, there's a whole different program / process that you can use to cap off your FPS. ottr explained it very, very well in his video. I'll leave a link to his video in the description. It's using the RDSS, I believe is what it's called, but it is a little more precise. So yeah, go check it out. Now that we finished all that, your game should look and feel a lot better once you get in the actual game itself. But I wanted to point something out before this video ends. A lot of videos that I saw are telling people to put the video overlays over their game so it looks a lot better. I'll demonstrate exactly what I'm saying. If you hit Alt Z, it'll pull up this little menu right here, and you can go to game filter. And then right here, you can actually tweak the sharpening, the contrast, the color, pretty much anything you can think of. The reason why I'm struggling against this is that because it causes input lag. Now, if you're a player who doesn't really care about performance and you just want the game to look good, by all means, go ahead and tweak with this, but don't expect the best gameplay performance if you do.